What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name's Kyle. In this video, it is Monday, October 31st. Happy Halloween to you guys. We're going over the Week 9 Waiver Wire Report. I do these on Mondays now, so you guys can digest the information on Monday and have all day Tuesday to react to the news. So I did put the link in the description if you want to check out the Waiver Wire Report, but I'm going to click into it on the website, and then we'll kind of just go over it throughout the whole video here. So I do have a couple hot links here. You guys can access these if you need to. Week 9, there's a ton of teams on bye. You have Cleveland, Dallas, Denver, the Giants, the Steelers, and San Francisco. So I think a lot of teams are going to maybe be looking for a quarterback, maybe some running backs and some things like that. So it is an important week. You want to make sure you have your bases covered. But let's hop right into the video with the injuries to monitor this week. The quarterback position wasn't too bad. It's only Ryan Tannehill with the ankle illness situation. He's questionable for week 9. I'm going to assume he's going to play week 9. It didn't look very good with Malik Willis, so we'll put him back into onto the bench or the waivers and go with Ryan Tannehill. The running back list: Jonathan Taylor had an ankle thing. He returned to the game, so I think he's going to be fine, but he's going to be listed as questionable for week 9. We'll see his practice participation this week. Gus Edwards has the hamstring injury. He hurt that on Thursday Night Football. I have him listed as doubtful for week 9, but they're listing him as day-to-day, so there is some hope there. But I wouldn't expect him to be a fantasy asset week 9 for our starting rosters. Mark Ingram went down with a knee injury. He's questionable for week 9, but I think he's more so doubtful. It's probably a 1 to 2 week injury for Mark Ingram. So wheels up for Alvin Kamara. Ezekiel Elliott with the knee injury. He's going to be resting on the bye week. We expect him back for week 10. Cordarrelle Patterson has a chance to play this week. He could get activated off the IR. If he does play, we'll probably be interested in getting him in the lineup. They have a good matchup on paper against the Chargers, so we'll see. I do think if Cordarrelle Patterson's available in your league, he should be rostered, and if you want to try and trade for him now, I think the opportunity is there. We know they want to run the football in Atlanta. Chuba Hubbard, ankle injury, questionable for week 9. After that massive game by Deonta Foreman, I don't think Chuba's going to be in our fantasy lineups anytime soon. We'll have to wait and see, but I do think he's worth a roster hold while he's nursing his ankle injury. And then James Conner, he's questionable with a rib injury, week 9. He hasn't played in a while. I would expect he was really close to playing this Sunday, it sounded like, but we'll hold on for him one more week. Maybe he gets the opportunity to play week 9. The wide receiver position, you have Cooper Kupp with an ankle injury. They're listing him as day-to-day. It doesn't seem as serious as it looks like yesterday at the end of the game, so I think he's going to be just fine. Jamar Chase, we're expecting him to be out week 9 with a hip injury. The good news is with Jamar Chase is they did not put him on IR, so it's likely a 3 to 4 week injury, not so much the 4 to 6 week injury that we initially were reported. Deebo Samuel, he's got the hamstring. He's got the bye week, so he'll hopefully heal up and be ready for week 10. Devontae Parker suffered a knee injury. He's going to be listed as doubtful for week 9. Christian Watson with a concussion. He's going to be questionable for week 9. We'll see if he can go. The Packers need his speed and his deep skills. Rashad Bateman with the foot injury, I'm going to update this to out for week 9. It might be a multi-week injury. It might be 2 to 3 weeks plus for Rashad Bateman as he's dealing with a mid-foot sprain. Mike Williams, we know he's not going to play. He's at the high ankle sprain. He's probably a 3 to 4 weeks away from being in our lineups. Alan Lazard, questionable with a shoulder injury. We'll see if he can practice on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm going to list him as questionable. They need him. They need Lazard, so hopefully he can play week 9. Michael Thomas, no idea what's going on with him. He's questionable with the foot. Mark Andrews had the shoulder injury. He left early on Thursday Night Football. He's going to be listed as questionable. Make sure you have Isaiah Likely just in case. Darren Waller with the hamstring, questionable for week 9. Make sure you have Foster Moreau if you are waiting on Waller. Irv Smith suffered a high ankle sprain. He's going to probably miss a week or two. Questionable for week 9. They already had their bye week, so no freebies with Irv Smith. And then David Njoku, I noticed on ESPN he was cut a lot. There was like 16% people that cut him. If he's available in your league, stash him. He's got a bye this week. It sounds like he could be back for week 10. So those are all the major injuries that I saw. I'll probably add to this list if I see anything else, but we'll move on here to the quarterbacks. And again, we mentioned all the teams that are on bye. I do have a list of quarterbacks that should be rostered, and I think this is the week where I'm going to move Geno Smith into the must rostered category. He's a top 10 QB right now, playing really well. Fun matchup against Arizona this weekend. I think he's a start. He's a top 10, top 12 quarterback. Derek Carr going up against Jacksonville. We are nervous about the Raiders offense. We don't have a lot of confidence in it right now. I don't love the matchup. I do like Trevor Lawrence though at home against the Raiders. The Raiders give up a ton of passing points to the quarterback, so expect Lawrence in the Jags passing game to bounce back in this one. Jared Goff against Green Bay, maybe they get some good stuff here. But Green Bay's defense, I mean, they limited Josh Allen last night. I think that's a pretty good matchup, or a tough matchup for Jared Goff. Justin Fields, if you are struggling at quarterback, here's your answer. He's 26% owned. So he's out there in 3 out of 4 leagues right now. I think he can be a top 12 QB the rest of the season with that rushing attack. Mariota against the Chargers, maybe. I don't mind Andy Dalton against Baltimore. He's been playing pretty well. Hopefully they get Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry back. And then everybody else here, I'm not super inspired about. PJ Walker, though, sounds like he's going to get the start against Cincinnati. He's done enough to earn the spot over Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. And then stash and superflex. Of course, Deshaun Watson, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Jameis Winston, Malik Willis. I don't know if it's going to happen. The Titans are playing well now. They're 5-2. I expected Malik Willis at some point this year, but I'm not sure after that last week that we're going to see him anytime soon. Mayfield, Teddy Bridgewater, these guys are just deep holds. Maybe Joe Flacco at some point, though. If Zach Wilson continues to struggle, maybe we see Joe Flacco kind of right the ship and get this team back towards playoff contention. But we'll move on to the running backs. Not a big running back week for you guys this week. I think last week was the one. Deonta Foreman remains the stud there. If you guys have him available in your roster, please go pick him up. Brian Robinson kind of took the backseat to Antonio Gibson, so he's not as sexy anymore. Cam Akers, if he doesn't get traded, or if he does get traded, he might be worth a stash. I'm assuming he's not going to get traded and he's going to return to the team. Tyler Algier, I like Algier. He had a nice game yesterday, but Cordell Patterson comes back and Caleb Huntley's looking good, so I'm not excited about that. I do want to get excited about Khalil Herbert, though. I think he's the better back in Chicago to own right now. Under 50% rostered in ESPN league, so he might be a low-end RB2 flex play the rest of the way. The Bears have a really nice schedule as well. Naheem Hines looked good. Again, Jonathan Taylor had that ankle thing. He had the rushing touchdown. He's just a PPR stash. Stash Jeff Wilson. More of a handcuff to Christian McCaffrey, so if you want to do that, go ahead and do that. Chuba Hubbard still needs to be rostered in case anything happens to Foreman. And then I think Latavius Murray, man, he's a goal line back. He scored touchdowns in back-to-back weeks. He's involved in the rushing game and somewhat in the passing game. I think he's a fine low-end emergency RB2. Madison continues to look good and is a nice handcuff. But James Cook, I think he's the guy that if he's available in your league, I want to stash him. He looked good in some plays against Green Bay last night on Sunday Night Football. And they had their bye last week. They made an effort to make him the running back too. Zach Moss hasn't even gotten a touch for 2 straight games. James Cook, if anything happens to Singletary, James Cook might be a league winner. We'll see if Pacheco gets more involved out of the bye week, and Rachaad White continues to look good as Leonard Fournette's backup. And then with Gus Edwards' injury, Kenyon Drake is probably going to be the starter. I think if you need someone as a RB2 replacement, he can be your guy. And then with the Rams situation, I'm expecting Kyron Williams to get activated and maybe play this week. He could be the guy that they lean on going forward. Jerick McKinnon, he's kind of like in that Naheem Hines, J.D. McKissic, mold for PPR leagues. Same with Dontrell Hilliard. He continues to look good. And then Jalen Warren actually looks better than Najee Harris. So something to monitor there. Not a great week for running backs. Let me know if you guys have questions on these, and let's move on to the wide receiver position. Again, it's not a super sexy waiver wire week. The guys at the top of the list probably owned in your lineups, but I do think Pickens, Renfro, Woods, Robinson, they deserve a spot on your 12-man rosters. Kadarius Toney, of course, being traded to the Chiefs. I don't expect him to be a start for fantasy football anytime soon, but he's definitely worth a hold. You have Michael Gallup, who looked well last week. He kind of returned, maybe 8.9 PPR points. He's a guy that we'll watch going forward. He's on bye this week, so maybe you can get him for free. Elijah Moore, he's in the doghouse. If he gets traded, then we'll have some fun. But for now, we're keeping the candle lit for Elijah Moore. I do think Romeo Doubs, though, he made some good plays last night on Sunday Night Football. Of course, the big touchdown grab. He ended up with about 16 PPR points. He's a guy that I think they're going to continue to lean on going forward as the team's target lead. And then Rondale Moore, looking good as the number 2 behind DeAndre Hopkins. He had the big touchdown, heavy usage in PPR format. So Rondale Moore entering our good graces here. And both guys are widely available in most leagues. Wan'Dale Robinson didn't really do so hot, but Paris Campbell looking good there with Sam Ehlinger. I know he had 9 PPR points, but it's a low floor. Devin Duvernay with the Rashad Bateman news. He's a guy that I think can be a low-end wide receiver 3 flex play in PPR leagues. So he's kind of nice. Pierce also had 9 PPR points with Ehlinger. Zay Jones, probably a good spot start for Zay Jones this week. Isaiah McKenzie. Josh Palmer, actually, with the Mike Williams injury, I'm interested in Josh Palmer as a low-end wide receiver 3 flex. If Treylon Burks is out there, he's 25% available, or he's 25% rostered in most leagues. He's going to return week 10. He could be a guy that helps lift your teams there if you need wide receiver. We're going to watch Donovan Peoples-Jones tonight. He's been having a nice last 4 games, so it wouldn't surprise me to see him playing well and potentially being on our waiver wire list over his bye week. Christian Watson, Tyquan Thornton, some interesting rookies, but I do like Darius Slayton. I think Slayton might be the best receiver on the Giants roster going forward. Khalif Raymond looking nice as the number 2 for the Lions. I'm going to keep an eye on. And then again, with the Bateman injury, Demarcus Robinson could be of interest for you guys if you need some help there. So again, not a sexy waiver wire week here, but there are some pieces that I think can help you. At the tight end position, Dalton Schultz should be rostered if he's available. Please get him. Mike Gesicki starting to earn some trust for us, and then I mentioned David Njoku's been getting dropped in a lot of leagues. I think he's going to be back week 10. But other than that, Gerald Everett has some interest because we know Mike Williams is going to be out. He's going to be kind of the number 2, number 3 target going forward. Dawson Knox catching touchdowns again. Hayden Hurst with the Jamar Chase injury, he's got some appeal as well. Taysom Hill should be rostered, I think, by now if you need tight end help. But Robert Tonyan continues to look good. I think he's a top 12 tight end in PPR formats right now. Irv Smith probably going to get cut in a lot of leagues this week. But then the super sleeper here is Greg Dulcich, who has had he's had 3 straight games over double digits. He's playing really well. He's on a bye week this week, so if you can get him and hold on to him, that's looking good. And then I like Evan Ingram. He's a top 12 tight end in PPR formats as well. And then just monitor Cole Kmet. Tyler Conklin had 2 touchdowns yesterday, and then Foster Moreau is worth a start if Darren Waller's out. And then Isaiah Likely, I should add in parentheses, if Mark Andrews is out, Isaiah Likely is a must-start player. And then for defenses this week, of course, the Bills and the Eagles are top tier, already owned teams, but they are must starts. The Patriots would be a good start if available. I don't mind the Packers on the road against Detroit. They could be in for some turnovers from Jared Goff. Otherwise, the Dolphins against Chicago. The Chicago Bears don't really score that many points. I do like the Bengals at home against the Panthers, maybe the Vikings against the Commanders, and then maybe the Chiefs against the Titans. Just some quick defenses for you guys. But that's going to do it for the Waiver Wire Report. Again, it's Monday. I'm going to continue to add to the website, and if anything else pops up, I'll put it on the website. But that's it for me. Let me know if you guys have questions in this video. I'll answer the questions as they come in. And yeah, enjoy the Monday Night Football, and we'll see you guys in a future video. Peace.